Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this installment of California Employment News, an informative video and podcast resource offered by the Labor and Employment Group here at Weintraub Tobin. My name is Ryan Abernethy, and I'm a shareholder in the firm's Labor and Employment Group. And I'm joined today by my partner, Talia Delanoy, who is new to our group, and this is her inaugural episode. So we're happy to have her join our team here. So over 3 years ago now, Lucas Clary and I spoke with you about the regular rate of pay. But since the regular rate of pay is such a prevalent issue that is increasingly featured in wage and hour class actions that we're seeing pouring in, we wanted to revisit that topic today. So Talia, why don't you start us off by giving us a refresher with some basic information about the regular rate of pay, what it is exactly, and what needs to be included within it?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. So most employers assume that the base rate of pay, an employee's regular hourly rate, is all they need to think about when they calculate overtime and double time. They just take the base rate of pay, multiply it by 1.5 for overtime or 2 for double time, and that's it. Unfortunately, the calculation isn't that simple. The regular rate of pay, which is different from the base rate of pay, actually includes additional income, such as non-discretionary bonuses, shift differentials, which is like additional pay when you have an employee use an undesirable schedule, or for weekend or overnight work, piece rate compensation, such as payment per box of fruit picked, or even commissions. And so employers need to add up all of these types of income in addition to the employee's base hourly rate before calculating both overtime, double time, sick pay, and meal and rest period premium payments. To make this even more complicated, the law requires one calculation for a flat sum bonus, and such as $50 paid for weekend work, and another calculation for production bonuses, such as an employee who might earn 5% of all sales in a given month. So let's do a quick example. If you're paying an employee a flat sum bonus, here's the example. Your employee earns $16 per hour and works 40 straight time hours and 4 overtime hours on Saturday. The straight time payment is simple. $16 times 40 hours equals $640. The overtime payment, $24 an hour times 4 hours equals $96. Now, the employee is paid the $50 bonus for working on Saturday. So now you need to calculate the overtime compensation due on the bonus. So now this is where the math comes in. You take $50 in bonus, you divide it by the 40 hours of straight time hours worked, and this gets you $1.25, which is the per hour value of the bonus. So now you take that $1.25, you multiply it by 1.5 for the overtime, and you get $1.87.5. This is the bonus overtime value per hour. So now you have to actually figure out how much of that goes to the overtime. So you take the $1.87.5 times the 4 hours of overtime the employee worked, and you get $7.50. This is the overtime due on the bonus. This is the part that most employers miss. When you add all of that up, the total straight time pay, the total overtime pay, the $50 flat sum bonus, and that $7.50 overtime owed on the bonus, you get a total of $793.50.
Great. Well, thank you, Talia. So, how about some good news now that we realize that a lot of us out there might be underpaying our employees based on the regular rate? Let's discuss what doesn't need to be included in the regular rate. And there are at least three categories of items that can be excluded from the regular rate calculation because they're not considered wages. The first exclusion is for payments that could be categorized as gifts or gratuities. This would include employer contributions to retirement, life, or other insurance benefits. It also includes holiday bonuses or other payments given to employees that are considered rewards for service or rewards for loyalty, so long as the amounts paid are not directly measured by the employee's hours worked or the employee's production or efficiency. The second category of item that can be excluded from the regular rate includes items and payments that are made for periods where no work is performed. So this is stuff like vacation pay, paid sick time, sick pay, or similar payments. The third category is expense reimbursements, and which are obviously not considered wages. Now, this shouldn't be confused with per diem payments, which usually are required to be included in the regular rate of pay calculations. In addition, the cost or the value of lodgings or meals that the company provides to employees often must be included as well into the regular rate of pay under certain circumstances. It's pretty detailed, so we won't get into that today, but just be aware of that. It's also important to remember that premium payments must be paid at the regular rate of pay, not the base hourly rate. So just a refresher, under California law, non-exempt employees who are not provided compliant meal or rest breaks are entitled to an extra hour of pay under the labor code. And this payment is called a premium. And we discuss this premium in more detail in other episodes. But many employers pay these premiums out at the employer's base hourly rate, and that's a mistake because the California Supreme Court has clarified that premiums must actually be paid at the often higher regular rate of pay. So that would be a violation just by getting that wrong. Sick leave must also be paid out at the regular rate of pay and not the base hourly rate. So Talia, why don't you share with us some of the risks employers face for getting the regular rate wrong?
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, regular rate of pay violations are low-hanging fruit. An attorney need only request the employee's payroll records, which the employers are obligated to provide, and they do some simple math to see if there are violations. If an employee's pay stub shows an overtime rate that is exactly 1.5 times the base rate of pay in the same pay period that the employee earned a bonus or other income like we discussed earlier, then that lawyer knows they have a slam dunk case. So in the example that I gave earlier, if an employer neglected to include that Saturday work bonus in the overtime calculation, that $7.50 omission could cost the employer thousands of dollars. This is made up of significant penalties, $100 per employee per pay period, and up to 30 days of pay at the employee's full daily rate if the error is discovered after the employee quits or is terminated. The damages also include interest, potential liquidated damages, and payment of the employee's attorney's fees. So this is a huge sum of money for missing a payment of just $7.50. Employers, unfortunately, can also be subject to class action liability if they fail to use the regular rate of pay for all of their employees. And in this very scary turn, those damages can extend back 4 years from when an employee files a lawsuit.
Thank you, Talia. And we know this is a kind of a scary topic for some, and it's pretty complicated. So you can always reach out to one of our attorneys here at Weintraub if you have any specific questions about the regular rate or how to calculate production bonuses. And with that, that'll do it for today. We thank you all for joining us, and you can continue to find California employment news at our blog at www.thelelawblog.com and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And with that, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.